Today I'm going to talk you through an easy walk through Palermo, Sicily. Some of you have told me of some nightmare stories about getting lost, can't find places, so I am going to suggest a really simple route you can do on foot. Of course, it does not include everything, but it does include a number of points of interest, mainly in a straight line, in walking distance. It also includes a number of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites you may be interested in. The other advantage of this route includes the pedestrian zone. It is definitely doable in a day, but of course this does not allow time to go inside the buildings. The assumptions I'm making is you have one day, you're capable of walking a few kilometres and are wearing sensible shoes. And I remind you, do not underestimate the effort of walking midday in the middle of the summer. I have to tell you, one of the sad recent changes in the pedestrian area is the amount of cyclists and users of e-scooters who take it upon themselves to ride through the pedestrian precinct. If you watch until the end, I will even give you a bonus location to enjoy the sunset. Are you ready? To learn more about La Bella Sicilia, consider subscribing. My suggested route starts at Palazzo della Cuba on Corso Calatafimi and heads down towards La Cala, the marina in the centre of Palermo. Palazzo della Cuba was built by William II of Sicily, a Norman king, and the building is designed in an Arabic style, and its purpose was for hunting and recreation. If you visit it, remember it was actually once surrounded by water. The writer Boccaccio references La Cuba in his work The Decameron. Now continue to walk down Corso Calatafimi towards Piazza d'Indipendenza. Piazza Indipendenza was so named after the Risorgimento, the reunification of Italy and Sicily. Porta Nuova was the western entrance to the city of Palermo in the Middle Ages. Corso Calatafimi now enters Via Vittorio Emanuele, the main street in Palermo. This is the pedestrian zone. As you'd expect, the pedestrian zone is largely food, drink and products aimed at visitors. As of my visit in 2022, I can report to you there's a big increase in restaurants serving street food, both in Palermo as well as Siracusa. If you want to know more about Sicilian food, I've produced a separate video on this. Palazzo dei Normanni, also known as Palazzo Reale, was the seat of power in Palermo. The majority of the kings of Sicily and the Emir of Palermo ruled from here. The Sicilian school of poetry often met here. The Palatine Chapel, Cappella Palatina, is a royal chapel built in a mixture of Byzantine, Norman and Muslim architectural styles. If you are going to enter a building, I would suggest it is this one. And remember, this is a World Heritage Status location. The Palermo Cathedral, Il Duomo, was built in a range of architectural styles. It is said it was built as a church by Pope Gregory I, but it was later rebuilt as a mosque as Palermo became the capital of Sicily. A number of Sicilian kings are buried here if you know your history of Sicily. This is also a World Heritage Status site. Now if you want to branch off, you can now go to San Giovanni degli Eremiti, which was also frequented by Pope Gregory I and was famous for its Norman Arab red domes. This is also a World Heritage Status location. Now you have some options here. If art is your thing, Palazzo Riso is a museum of modern art. Instead, you also have an opportunity to branch off and experience the famous market Ballarò. Quattro Canti is a Baroque square in the historical centre of Palermo, which joins the four ancient quarters of Palermo. It includes statues of the four female patron saints of Palermo and was built during the period of the Spanish occupation of Sicily. Piazza Pretoria is nicknamed the Square of Shame due to the reaction at the time to its nude statues Of more interest, at least to me, was behind Piazza Pretoria, where you can find San Cataldo in Piazza Bellini, an Arab Norman church, also with World Heritage status. Right alongside is the Norman church of La Maturana, also known as Church of Santa Maria dell'Ammiraglio. This also has World Heritage status and was frequented by Roger II of Sicily. As you cross Via Roma, you have two options. To the left is an upmarket department store called Rinascente. In my language, it is good for air conditioning, toilets, a rooftop bar with views of the city, as well as the opportunity to buy presents. To the right is the 18th century Baroque Palazzo Valguarnera Gangi. You may recognise it from the movie Il Gattopardo, The Leopard. Palazzo Chiaramontesteri is a sad reminder of the Spanish Inquisition, which was inflicted on Sicily. For completeness, people were also tortured and burned alive, also outside Palermo Cathedral. On a happier note, La Cala is the Palermo Marina, which is great for photos at sundown. If you arrived at Palermo Airport, it was renamed to Falcone and Borsellino. Along La Cala, you will find a fresco of Palermo's most famous and courageous sons, Falcone and Borsellino. Retracing your steps about half a kilometre on Via Cavour, you can now visit Teatro Massimo, Palermo's most famous opera hall. At least for me, the photos of Teatro Massimo come out best at night. If, for example, you like opera, Enrico Caruso performed here, and you can try to attend a performance. If instead you prefer movies, you may remember The Godfather 3 ending was filmed here. I did promise you at the beginning of the video there was going to be a bonus spot to enjoy the Palermo sunset. So if you do happen to have a car, this is well outside the city, there's a great spot to enjoy the sunset at Sfera Cavallo.